have pajamas on.
Nobody needs to know.
Nobody needs to know. Oh my gosh, I actually have a story about her today, but we'll get into that.
Oh, yes. Ruby.
She's so naughty.
I wanted to be scared from that story, but I felt calm.
You were on the phone with me when I was panicking.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later. Let's just talk about it. Ashley, what are all the new things in your life?
Is there anything new going on since last time? I don't think so.
How do you feel now that we've actually launched?
I feel so good.
I cannot believe the work that Ashley put into this. Like, I've been a cheerleader and there's things I'm good at, but she's like the heart and soul and has basically done everything for this.
No, that's not true.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful in here.
Oh, thank you.
So, Ashley, we've been doing this challenge in our Patreon group.
Yes.
And we're nearing the end.
Oh my gosh, it's September. Today's September.
It's September 1st.
Wow.
We've got 21 days basically left. Well, 20.
20 days.
And that makes a habit, and then it becomes you. So why do you think that momentum is important in your life?
It is hard to start. It's hard to start really anything and to just stick with it long enough to get that momentum, because once you hit momentum, it's really just you're not even thinking about it anymore.
It's just natural to you.
Yeah.
Becomes a part of you.
It does become a part of you. And so a few years ago when I did my little 6-month journey, I noticed that happen. And I've really stuck with most of that process. Like, I really formed a morning routine. This was back in 2022 that I've never really gotten away from. And really because I'm like, I function so much better when I'm doing these things. So there's sometimes I've kind of slipped off and then I'm like, what am I doing? I know I function so much better when I have these routines in place. So
that's amazing. Today we're going to talk about your sacred connection to heaven. Also, we've been in the middle of doing this 75-day challenge, which is in our Patreon. There's just a list of things you do. We also had a 40-day challenge, and that's in there, in Ashley's 6-month journey transformation. How much weight did you lose in that transformation? 40 pounds.
But it was over 6 months. But yeah, 40.
So cool. All of that stuff is in our Patreon if you're looking for tools to help you get started on a journey to bettering your life. We did weekly updates and such in there. But I think one of the most important things of these the journeys that we have gone on is that momentum helps clear out negative things from your body. And that's when I feel heaven really strong in my life, is when I am clearing out the clutter physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I think that's when I feel that sacred connection, if I'm intentional about it.
That is so true.
What are some ways that you like to connect to heaven, and how has that benefited you in your life from having that connection?
Oh, well, if I don't have the connection, I kind of feel like I'm just wandering around aimlessly, you know? It's hard to like pick one thing, but I feel like there are several ways that I stay in tune, I guess I would say. It's really just everything that you're putting into you, whether it's music, movies you're watching, your own thoughts, social media.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of things. So I am really intentional about what it is that I put in. All of the input I'm really intentional with. So
you actually posted about this the other day.
I did.
I want to read one of these to everyone on here because it was so good. It's just about, she gave a list of a bunch of ways that you keep yourself connected to that. I call God love. I believe God is love. That's a verse that I really enjoy reading. She talks about guarding her mind. So are you okay if I read?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So guard my mind. This is one of the ways that Ashley likes to stay connected. She says, I pay attention to what I'm feeding myself. Music, shows, conversations, even social media. Warfare often enters through what we allow in without realizing it. Protecting my mind means being intentional about what I consume, replacing negativity with truth, and filling my thoughts with things that are pure, uplifting, and aligned with God's word.
There you go.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
I guess we're done. Just kidding.
That's it, folks.
Oh, man. Ashley, have you ever had a time where I don't know how to ask this question, but like where you felt like God kind of has a sense of humor?
Yeah.
While you're being led? I don't know. How do I
have one? I feel like you do.
I don't necessarily, but I do think God does.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. Has anything ever happened to you where you laughed and you were like, really? Like, I don't know. That's happened to me.
Well, specifically, this one's actually about you. One of the ways that I think God has spoken to you is obviously not every dream is prophecy or inspiration or revelation.
For sure.
But Ashley had this wild dream one time. It's like she was making these tidal waves and she just felt like
It was so weird. I'm like, Bobbi, what is this? Because here's the thing. I only tell you dreams if I felt like it was a message, you know, and then what ended up happening?
Well, literally, she called me this one morning and she's like, I had this dream. And the reason this dream was significant is because the night before she'd also had a dream that was very significant.
Yes.
And she was trying to learn how God is speaking to her, right? So she has this dream and I'm like picking my brain. I'm like, what could this mean? And that night, she sits down to watch a movie with her kids and sees that exact thing in the movie.
It just was identical to my dream, just played out on, and I had never seen this movie. It was one of the Marvel movies I was watching with the kids. I was like, this is my dream. I sent you the clip, and I remember your response was like, what the heck?
What did that dream mean for you? Like, why do you think that dream was significant and then you see it play out in a movie? Like, you didn't know that dream would mean a movie.
No, I did not know. So I was like, what does this mean for me? Okay, the night before I had a very significant dream that I was questioning. Is this real? Is this like a promise? Is this something that's going to happen in my future? Because it was such a detailed dream.
Or is it just a dream?
So that was the next morning. That was kind of my prayer. Like, help me discern if that was actually something that's going to happen. I don't know. Or if there's any meaning to my dreams. So the next night I have that dream that's bizarre. Mm-hmm. We're trying to figure out what that means. And then I see it actually play out the next day. So what I took from that was, yes, your dreams do mean something. So, I mean, again, sometimes it's not every dream, but yes, there is meaning to them. And the weird thing is, I would say any dream in the past year that I've had that I felt was significant or it was a message, 90% of them happened. There's still some that I'm like, I think that's something later down the road. But I think that he gives me these little dreams to kind of hold me over. That's like, I promise these other ones will, because I cannot explain how some of these literally play out.
Yes.
And I always
watched them.
I tell Bobbi immediately. I will tell her all of the details.
And it's so like, I swear it's so I can be a second witness.
That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one that I had a couple weeks ago and I had mentioned to you. I'm like, I had a dream about this girl and I have not seen her for a long time. And 8 days later, I ran into her. And literally, I haven't seen her in maybe years. You know, we're not even acquaintances on social media or anything. And I ran into her and there was something that happened in the dream. Anyway, this was super significant too. I'm like, what are the chances of that?
Yeah, I remember in your dream, the girl was going through some significant challenges.
Yes.
And you could tell when you saw her, she was going through some stuff, right?
Right.
So interesting. So I actually saw just these little verses that talk about how we are all the body of Christ, but we function in different ways. And if you want to know how God speaks to you, you have to understand, what is my role for God? Like, what part do I play? And I think earlier on when we were testing out the podcast realm, we talked a little bit about spiritual gifts. And sometimes I think those are important to understanding how God does speak to me. Is it through thoughts flowing through my mind? Do I have dreams of revelation or of prophecy? You can have prophecy for your life, right? I also wanted to ask you, Ashley, before you started having these dreams, there is a verse that says, where people lack vision, they perish. What do you think clogs people's vision from being able to have these revelation, prophecy, visions, whatever it may be, these spiritual gifts? What are some things that, in your opinion, might block some of that?
I just finished this book called Living Fearless, and this is something that's covered pretty deeply into this book, and it is so true. I was like, this is actually the thing that blocks any type of answers to prayers. If you're feeling like you're not in tune and you're like, what is going on? I've prayed a million times. I feel like I don't have direction in any way. It's usually unforgiveness, and it can be with someone else or yourself. Let me just read this line right here. So it says, if you do not live within God's forgiveness, most likely the Lord will want to speak to this issue first in your life. If you come to the Lord and want to talk to him, but refuse to release another person in forgiveness, he's not going to talk to you about anything else except releasing that person or persons in forgiveness. We think he is silent, but we just aren't listening to the foundational piece that opens up the flow of communication. Unforgiveness is like a kink in a hose that blocks movement. And that is so true. I think back to times where I feel the least in tune is when I'm really angry at someone or myself. Just I'm full of anger.
Yeah.
Or I have unforgiveness in my heart for someone.
That's so true. I listened to a podcast by a gal named Brooke Snow, and I really liked this teaching that she implied because I've actually witnessed this and I just never heard it put to words. But she suggests that two energies, meaning love and anger, can't exist in the same room. And so love is a really high power. Anger isn't as high of a power. The reason we know when we're in the presence of love is because you can feel it.
Yeah.
There are fruits of the spirit of love. You also recognize when someone's angry because you see certain behaviors.
Yeah.
And you can feel it a lot of times. It's like, whoo!
Yeah.
It's a burny feeling for me.
Yes.
You know, there's different energies. So she suggests that love and anger or love and hate can't exist in the same room. Either one will rise or one will flee or one will lower.
Wow.
You just can't be in the same room when you're... Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, 100%. I could be having the best day and then somebody is super angry and you immediately, it's kind of like the fight or flight. You either run so that you can maintain your peace or you end up, in that same anger. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've been praying lately just that spirit of love will be in me, and it's been interesting. I've been noticing when someone can't be in my presence or when they let it soften them.
Wow.
I'm a bonus mom now, and I even watch that with my own stepkids. I've watched myself battling anger by dropping to anger before. Mm-hmm. I've also watched myself hold love, and I've watched that love soften.
That's so good. I always regret when I lower to anger, and I always feel so in alignment when I'm staying in the love,
I don't think it's the easy. It's like
the hard thing.
Training a muscle.
Yeah.
A lot of us out there know how to train our physical muscles, but got to do some work emotionally and spiritually. Train that emotional strength to be steady in a storm. I think you need that, whether you're in a family and friendships. People just go through stuff, and it's like, how can I stay steady through this storm?
Yeah. I actually have a question for you. So we were talking about different spiritual gifts. I think that in some ways God can reach us in all different kinds. Like if you're not getting it, maybe he will give you a dream, and maybe that's not something that's normal for you. Maybe for you, it's mostly just you get kind of like downloads or direction. Mm-hmm. Okay, first, I wanted to say this because never, ever, ever did I have dreams. I literally just asked for one. And that night was the first one that I had that I felt, oh my gosh, I was very specific. And the fact I got one that night that I asked, that's also why I'm like, well, there has to be some meaning to this because I literally asked for one and then they really never shut off. So I think sometimes we just need to ask for certain ones. But I want to ask you, like, what for you, what's the most normal, I guess, way that he speaks to you?
Oh, that's actually a really great question. Because I think maybe there's two ways. Mm-hmm. So I'm very sensitive to people's emotions. And in fact, I don't often feel like I have a lot of my own emotion. I think I feel other people's emotion a lot.
Yes, you do.
And so if I'm emotional about something, it's probably because someone else is emotional about it and I'm feeling it.
That's so crazy.
So I think that God gives us people to minister over, and we help each other. Mm-hmm. Whoever that is, he just brings people to us in our life. One way that I've noticed is that, generally speaking, I can feel when my friends are in a good flow. I'll have days where someone pops to my mind really strong, like their face pops into my mind, and I can feel if they're off love. Like I'm like, whoa, I can feel, I think this person is having grief right now, or I'll have the thought to reach out to them. And I won't always know why, but I can feel they're not in the flow of love. That's the only way I know how to.
That's amazing.
Explain it. But that's been something that's been trained over time.
But you know why? Because you followed through and then it was right. Like you would send a letter maybe you should share that because that was really cool, but you didn't know what was going on. You shared this in the one that didn't get posted.
I know. We had one that didn't get posted and I get jumbled. I'm like, have I shared this before or have I not?
Yeah.
But okay, I'll share this because it leads to that. This will take a second. When I started recognizing that God was speaking to me, I was really young and I liked going on walks, which is wild that I still love going on walks.
Yes, I do.
So just as a teenager, I felt like walks really helped clear my mind. I would want to get a certain amount of miles in. So I would have a thought of where I wanted to go, but as I would be walking, I would feel this little nudge, turn here, go here. And it would annoy me a little bit because I'd be like, I wanted to go this route, but it's like I couldn't. It's like it was like a shut door in my head. You can't go, don't go this way, go this way. So I would just follow that feeling of turn here, go here, do this. And by the way, everything that we're sharing, I believe, is available to anyone. If you ask, you will receive. I believe God's gifts are available to everyone and that he wants to speak to us. And so I just happen to really desire that. I get really excited about the adventure of Jesus and following promptings. That's like my number one joy in life is where's the Lord going to lead me today?
Yeah.
And this was one of the things that led me to love that thought. So one day while I was walking, I just had the thought, turn here, go here. And I always was like, oh, am I kind of crazy or something? Because I'm like, why do I have these thoughts to turn this? And like, it seemed like nothing would happen. But one of the days I went walking and I had a strong thought, turn here. There was a girl that had passed out and she was having a seizure on the side of the road. And I went and held her while she was seizing, so she wasn't whacking her head against the sidewalk. And I thought, oh my gosh, like no one was around who would have seen her. It was kind of a weird time of day. I just felt so grateful that God had guided me there.
Yeah.
And then I noticed too, he speaks to me with images. Like I'll have little things flash through my head. Like when I was 14, I was driving with my mom in a van and kids were in the back, but I was in the front seat and I had laid my seat back and fallen asleep. It was a very light sleep because I was having a dream. And it was a very quick dream, but I saw us driving around a curve. It was dark outside when we were driving, but in my dream, it was also dark. We're driving around a curve and I see a deer flash through my head and we didn't have time to stop. We were going to hit it. So I jump up out of my chair and I'm like, Mom, slow down. There's going to be a deer. And just then, moments later, we go around a curve. Just then, moments later. I don't know how that works. A moment or two later, we go around a curve and sure enough, she had slowed down because there was a deer in the road and we wouldn't have been able to stop in time had I not had that dream. So I just knew then that like, okay, God sends me warning messages and they're not scary. They're just like, wake up,
right?
Do this.
That's true.
Talking with my hands, just flinging them. It's talking to me. So those are just some of the simple ways that I have experienced God speaking to me, sometimes through a dream, sometimes, I have different experiences, but, and I'll tell that one later. But I want to ask you also, recently we were talking on the phone when we had a scare with Ruby Sue.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk about that? Like, what was your experience tell me about that day, Ashley.
Okay. So this was Friday, just this last weekend. And I had done my morning routine. Ruby always comes out on the deck with me and Elliot's always there with me too. I came in, I did my walk, and then I jumped in the shower. And when I got out of the shower, I noticed my sliding door was open and I could not find her. She has never escaped. She's never disappeared, nothing. So I immediately start calling for her, but I'm like, she's my shadow and she's always just right next to my feet. And so the fact that she wasn't already, I was like in a panic. I also was on the phone with you when this was going on. So I'm like, Bobbi, I think Ruby's missing. And I run downstairs because sometimes she'll wander down here. And I check this room and I'm yelling her name. I cracked that door open too. Just cracked it. Cracked the door open, yelling her name. I don't hear her. I'm like, she's gone. I mean, the fact the door is open. So I'm checking my cameras. And then I jump in my car. I'm driving around the neighborhood. I come back. I'm like, I have to make a post. So I make a post. I also called our animal control because we live like a block away. So I figured she's probably there. She wasn't there. I have posts going up everywhere looking for her. And I'm driving around again. And I am praying like, Lord, tell me where to go. And I'm not feeling anything. I did feel peace. So this is one thing. I was observing like, okay, what am I actually feeling like take a step back, and I only felt peace. So I'm like, okay, I think she's okay. But I'm not feeling guided in any way. So I would get to a stop sign and I'm like, do I turn left or do I turn right? And I'm not feeling anything. I'm like, this is a crisis. Like, I need to know where to go. I was kind of tracing the way we do our walks because that's what she's familiar with. So that's kind of the way I went. Not feeling anything. So it had been hours. I did leave the sliding door open in case she wandered back. Finally, I feel something. I hear go home. That's the first time I've heard. I was like, okay, I'm going home. Maybe she came back. That's the first time and the only time I felt prompted in any way. So I go home. I walk in. She's not there. And I sit on the couch and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I literally have no idea what else to do. I mean, my post was getting shared all over. No one had seen her. I'd called a few neighbors. Nobody. And all of a sudden I hear this little, like chirp. And I was like, oh my gosh, was that her? So I'm like, Ruby, go silent again. Then I sit in silence and then she starts chirping again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's here. She's here. I found her. She had locked herself. I don't know how. Locked herself in this basement closet. There was a mattress like leaning up against the wall. And I don't know what she did, but the mattress had fallen. So it had shut her inside of a closet.
Oh, wow.
And I could not hear her. She was not only in a closet, but in a shut door.
Wow.
But I had come down and checked. However, she doesn't make sounds when you're looking for her. It's only when it's silent, then she'll start to make sounds. But I'm like, man, I drove around for 5 hours that day. She was here the whole time. But what I kind of picked up from that, because I'm like, there was a lot of lessons. Number one, I did get an air tag. So she's got one of those that track her, But I was being guided. I was being prompted. And I did feel like it's just like, chill out. There's not a crisis. There's actually not. You're freaking out, but you don't need to. So that's really the only thing I felt. And then the only actual prompting I got was to go home. And sure enough. So I'm like, oh, thank you. I don't know. When things like that happen, it just really kind of solidifies like, okay, I was guided that whole time. And when I look back now, I'm like, why was I not feeling to turn left or turn right? It's because either way, it didn't matter because she was here the whole time. Right.
I think it's so interesting that God sometimes the way he speaks to us is just by giving us a feeling of peace. Like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And the only thing you felt was go home.
Yeah.
And little did you know you'd hear that screech. Like she'd been in there for a while. So she's like, "Wah!"
Help me. I know. And it took me actually so I was screaming her name the whole time. She wasn't reacting to that, but it was once I was silent. I sat on the couch like, what do I do? And then she started screaming for help.
That's so interesting. This isn't like with a dog, but I just remember having some worries. I'm a new bonus mom. So these kids have been in my life for now, I think 2.5 years. Well, a little bit longer, but officially it's been 2 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So because we dated, we've been married for 1.5 years, but they've been in my life officially 2 years. And there's just things you worry about as a new mom. We are divided between 2 homes and you never know what's going on over there, and it's not my business, but I just want the kids to feel safe in both homes and to feel love in both homes. That's my only concern. And I want them to know that they're safe and loved by me too, because I care about them. They're I take it seriously being a stepmom. Like I married my husband and those are now also my kids.
Yeah.
There's been times, we're going through the teenage years, entering into them, and one's getting to them, and that's exciting.
Look at you just jump right in.
I'm jumping right in. I'm like, wow, just came right in.
I know, for real. I'm not even there yet, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You know what? A lot of people are scared of teenagers, but I actually love them.
Yeah, but you are just a natural, and you always have been with teens.
I love just kids in general.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I'd never have ever really thought so much about having my own, but I just it's so easy for me to love other people's kids, like my friends' kids. I just love them like they're my nieces and nephews. I really do.
You do.
Anyway, I just have felt God speak to me different times with what they need. And it's very unique. One time I was on a walk. We were doing these prayer walks with one of our last challenges, the 40-day challenge. And I remember going on this walk and I was really mad at my 15-year-old.
That's relatable.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, this kid's gonna kill me. but I love him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm thinking of all these ways to be stern, and I'm praying. I'm like, Lord, how do I set up a boundary with this child? They're trying to find their independence. And so they just push back a little bit, and I'm not the birth mother. So I'm like, where's my role? But I honestly, just let me add this side note. If you are a bonus parent, my advice for you is to claim that. Like, you are the second mother. Mm-hmm. You are allowed to have rules too. And I'm not overly disciplinary. Like, I leave a lot of that to the parents, but I get to have my own rules too.
Yeah.
And I get to have boundaries. That's important. I think kids feel safer when there's strong boundaries. So claim that. Don't be afraid to set rules because you're not the real mom. Yes, you are. You absolutely are. In fact, the neighborhood kids always call me the mom, and then Emery's real mom, and then his second mom. So I think that's funny.
I love that.
But I take that seriously, and my mom really helped me to claim that. She's like, you are the stepmom. Don't shrink away from that. Like, you get to set rules in your house. So anyway, I'm walking, and I just have this very clear thought that comes to me about my spouse, and I'll share them because these don't feel too sacred to me to share, but about my spouse and about my two bonus kids. And the first one was about my stepson. I'm thinking, oh, I've got to set some hard boundaries. And I just have the thought, just help him. I'm like, what do you mean help him? I'm like, I'm trying to, but, and I just said back then, you got to let me know how to help him and what I need to say and when. And it was very, very clear, some different conversations we had that I normally wouldn't say a word back, just things that I needed to say to him to help him love his parents and his situation, because that's hard to blend a family.
Yeah.
And he's been delightful ever since. I think we have a really great relationship right now. My other kid, I just had a feeling just be a steady source in his life, and that's all I ever feel to do is just be a steady person. And with my husband, I actually had the thought I need to praise my husband more. And I think in married life, especially when you have insta kids, it's like we can get focused on problems really easy, but you got to remember the good things each other are doing and praise each other, even for the small little things.
That's so good.
I just think it's so easy to get focused on what's not flowing well, and we have so much flowing well and right in our lives, and we've got a lot of great things going, and praise that in people. Bring out the goodness. We're all hard enough on ourselves.
That's very true.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
How do you feel when someone gives you love in a time where you think you're struggling?
Oh, well, it means so much to me, but also when you praise those things, it makes you only want to be better. If you're only like, you do this wrong and you do this wrong, it really doesn't encourage them to improve. It kind of does the opposite. It's like, well, you don't notice the good things I do anyway. Why even bother, right?
Right.
So that's so good that you felt that. What's interesting too is all you did was ask. It really
ask
you
and
just
you
have
will
to
receive.
Ask. Yeah.
I think journaling, Ashley's been really good at this, but
Yes.
I used to keep a prayer journal, like ask questions and then write down the answer.
This is literally what I've done, and it has helped me with so many things, especially with boundaries that I know that I need in my life. I keep a prayer journal, and I will start like, Heavenly Father, and I will write out my prayer and my question, and then immediately I'll say what I have to say. This is usually how I start the answer, is I will start what I have to say about this is, and then I just let whatever comes to me and I write it. And then when I feel like I'm done, I go back and read it, and I'm like, this is exactly what I needed. And sometimes it surprises me. I'm like, I would not have thought this is what I should do.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the opposite of what you actually thought. And you were even thinking, oh, I need to do these hard boundaries. And it was like, no, you need to love, or you need to do this. Oh, dang it. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
So the writing is so good. And then you also have it to go back on. And anytime you kind of get that question again in your head, it's like, he already answered, you know?
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. I think there's times in those prayer journals that God speaks to us about our life and what we need to know to navigate our different unique circumstances. Ashley, have you ever had a time where you felt like God actually just took over and spoke through you?
Yes, I have a couple of times. I do have one I can share. So it's a small one, but sometimes I think those ones it still felt profound. So it was the beginning of the summer. I had gotten Ezra a library card because he wanted to go every week and get new books. And so I got him a library card. It was a week later. We go back, and I cannot find the card anywhere. I'm like, how did we lose it already? I even bought him a bag that he stuck the books in with the card. Anyway, we can't find it anywhere. I'm looking through the car. I go in. They're free. It's not a big deal. But I was just a little annoyed that I'm like, we can't keep track of something for 7 days, you know?
Yeah.
I go in and I go to the counter and I go to tell the girl, you know, we lost the card. And instead, what comes out of my mouth is, I said, we were here a week ago and I left my card right here. I was like, no, we didn't. I don't remember leaving my card. And the girl looks at me. She says, oh, yeah, I remember you leaving the card. I know exactly where it is. Let me go grab it. I was like, what? Because I have no memory of doing that. I have zero memory of doing that. So that was a really subtle way. But what's interesting is that is the week that we were really getting our podcast. We kind of talked about this is when we're going to start it. And my number one concern has been I am not the best at speaking. I can write. If I can sit down and write and have time to think of what I'm going to say, I'm way better at that. But on the spot, I'm not that good. So I've been like, Lord, why are you calling me to podcast? Because he has. I know that. But I'm like, I'm not, like, speaking is kind of what I'm not the best at. And I felt I will give you words to say. And so that was just kind of let me give you an example of the time I'm going to give you some words. And that's kind of what I took from that. I was like, oh my gosh.
I think anyone listening would be like, you're actually really great with words.
What?
But I have felt that. I feel like God's love does speak through you, whether our words are perfect or not, or you feel like they are.
Yeah.
He's delivering what he needs to those who desire to listen.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
That's such a cool story to me. It's just those small and simple things that I think we see that God is working in our lives. And I love, again, if you don't know how he's working with you, one, ask that question. Do I have a forgiving heart? And sometimes when you pray to forgive someone, there's still pain there. That doesn't mean you haven't forgiven them. You're just working through the pain. Mm-hmm. But that does allow, seeking that out does allow God's Spirit to be with you.
It does.
The fact that you're just trying to unclog that and unpack that to let it go is just such a big deal to God. I think unkinking that free flow of love from your life is it's a process, but starting the journey with seeking out that forgiveness is worth every step you take.
That's so true. Something else in this book, he talks about how when we hold on to unforgiveness, it keeps us in spiritual bondage to that person. And to be honest, the only person that is suffering when you have unforgiveness in your heart is you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't hurt the other person. They're living their best life, you know, but you are suffering, and it does things to your body.
Your physical health.
It does.
Plummets.
Your nervous system. Like, it really suffers. Yeah.
What do you think you can do when you are struggling to forgive? Like, do you have any advice for anyone that's maybe seeking to? But...
Oh, yes. 100%. And this works every time. I pray and ask to see this person the way the Lord sees them. And it immediately, it's like, okay, I only feel love for them because that's how he feels about every single person, you know? Yeah.
That's really great. I had a dream one time about one of my stepkids. I was feeling a little frustrated at one of them. And I think that happened to me. I think I saw what God saw in this person, and it gets me choked up thinking about it because in the moment I was like, man, this is really hard sometimes.
Right.
Just think about it. Like, these kids didn't ask for me in their life. They didn't. That's hard when your family split, you know? Mm-hmm. And I just want to add a love and value to their lives, but they didn't necessarily ask for me to be there. I just felt like I had a moment where I saw what God saw in them. And I'm like, hey, I need to be steady. You know, I need to help this person find themselves. And at least this was really cool for me. I like this. I have this little chart. This is from a book called Power versus Force, which is a hard read, meaning it's not necessarily hard, but it's the word. I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, it's really great though. It just tells you how to maintain power in your body instead of living in anger and fear and anxiety. It shows you the behaviors that will match your energy level, basically. And living in courage is the first line of power in your life. And my bonus kids are new to the idea of God. And we were just talking about it. I'm like, if that's hard for you to understand this concept, then maybe, you know, think about it as, when do I hold power in my body and when do I not? And I would just ask them questions about, like, if you've ever experienced someone who's angry and they recognize that, right? And I said, I read to them what love meant. And I was like, have you ever been around someone that has so much love in them, it just fills the room? And they said, yeah, you.
Oh.
I almost started bawling because here I'm like thinking I'm a failure. I'm like gonna cry.
Gosh,
I'm like,
that's so
"Girl,
good.
you know, like there's things I just don't know what I'm doing all the time." And when they're like, yeah, you, I'm like, well, I don't feel that way all the time.
Oh my gosh.
But I'll always remember that, and I want to keep that love with me because they do understand the language of love, you know?
That's so cool.
So
Aw.
anyway, that book is great. Maybe we'll do a little series on some of the principles in there because it has been really life altering for me to understand when I'm walking in power and when I'm walking in victim mentality, basically.
Yeah,
And that you always have a choice.
you do.
So,
That's so good.
well, Ashley, for someone who is starting that journey of learning to walk in the spirit,
Yeah.
do you have any advice besides, you know, I know you talked about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that you can let go of to start, you know, I guess it is unforgiveness.
Yeah. Letting go of unforgiveness. I mean, and that can be, again, for yourself. Maybe it's decisions that you've made or things that you feel like you've done wrong. But yeah, letting go of that. Here's the thing. If you've never really walked in the spirit, you don't know. Like, I've never really felt anything. What I would suggest is really, really, really focus on your input. Going kind of circling back to what we started with. What are you listening to? What are you watching? Try for, like, give yourself a amount of days that you kind of fast from certain things. I love worship music. And what's so weird is if I'll be in the car, and if, you know, another song will start to play, I'm like, this just like doesn't give me anything. I don't feel anything from this, or it kind of brings me down a little bit. But when I'm listening to worship music, it's just, I feel like I'm on fire. It feels so good. But I'll tell you this, when I started listening to it, I was like, this is good. If I would read the words, I would feel the spirit really strong. And so I would actually suggest doing that, because sometimes you're not really sure exactly everything that's being said. Mm-hmm. When I would read the words as the song was playing, oh my gosh, it would magnify the feeling. But if you imagine it like tuning into a radio station, you're just kind of off, and it's really, you know, you're just not feeling it quite yet. It's once you do get in tune, mm-hmm. just try to keep yourself there.
Right.
It really is like a radio frequency. It's like unkinking the hose. It's the flow that just will not turn off, but it's getting it to that frequency. You might be like one thing off, you know?
That's so true. If you want to listen to K-Love, you're going to turn the dial to K-Love.
Yes.
Right? For us, and where we live, it's 107.5.
Yeah.
Wherever that station is for you, where you live, that's great. You're not going to tune into a country station if you want to listen to K-Love. You're going to tune into K-Love.
There you go.
So if you want
What's
God's
K-Love?
frequency. You don't know what K-Love is?
No, I'm like, what is that?
It's Christian station.
Is it?
Yeah.
I always know where Cozy 106.5. It doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't.
But that's funny.
Anyway.
But you're right. If you're off one point, it's not going to be the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Tune into that right station.
K-Love.
So again, notice what you're feeding yourself. Do I have good things flowing into me nutritionally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? What am I watching? What am I filling my mind with? Mm-hmm. And does it invite the spirit of God into my life? And then 2, is there any unforgiveness I'm holding on to towards someone else or maybe myself? I think that's one thing that I was being I felt some walls up. Even as we've started doing this, I'm like, wow, do I really feel like myself? And I'm like, oh, I've been a little bit hard on myself. And I felt like I've had to work on letting go of expecting myself to know what the heck I'm doing sometimes, because I don't.
I know, don't we all?
So let go of that unforgiveness and pray that God will show you what that is, and then ask and you will receive.
Yes.
I think that's so important. So important.
It really is.
Is there any other thoughts you want to share on this topic?
I feel like this was so great. This was a great conversation.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We're just going to keep these simple principles that really help me feel uplifted. I feel better from this conversation.
Yes, me too. 100%.
Thank you. And we want to hear your miracle moments. For me today, we've talked about several different instances that we felt like God was speaking to us. But how do you feel like God speaks to you? Leave a comment and let us know, or email us. We want to hear your mini miracle moments, and we'll be sharing them. And you can decide whether you want to be anonymous or named, but we love hearing your experiences with your walk with God.
We love it. Yes, we can't wait. All right, that's it for today. We'll see you guys next week.
Next week.
Okay, bye.